When running marches in the field, guys, we've done it to death. We've talked about the pairings. We've talked about all the different ways that you can go about optimizing your marches in the field. We've gone through tier lists. We've gone through all the things. Well, this is going to be the video that's going to talk about how meta the top three commanders are for their respective troop type and how much of the KP do they actually gain, because it might change the way you think you want to run your marches. We'll go through all of that. We'll give you the stats. Now that we've got rock battles, we can put all this information in, and you're going to learn something new today. So stick around while we go through it all right now. Hey everybody, I'm your boy War Daddy Chatsky. I do videos for Rise of Kingdoms all the time, and if you enjoy these videos, throw a thumbs up on it, give it a like, and you can subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything. All this helps out the channel, grows our community. We continue to grow. We're continuing to push. It's going to be a lot of fun as we look into the next 12 months. I'm going to do a ton of content, and I'm in the middle of the $10 Flux giveaway for every single video I do for the month of July and August. We're celebrating all the fighting, and from our previous video that talked about the new release of Pincer Formation with Pincer 2, inscriptions coming into the game. I get this from Wayne Ross. I agree, conversion stones cannot be more difficult to acquire, especially as a rally garrison lead. They need to drop the amount of stones to convert. On top of this, I have 2 Inf marches to convert, and Delta 2.0 is coming in 3 months. So, rip. Congratulations, Wayne. You win the $10 Flux, and if you want to enter to win, all you got to do is drop a comment down below, and I pick a random comment to highlight in the next video, and you win that $10 Flux. So, be sure to do that. Well, guys, listen. We are in a weird situation of Rise of Kingdoms where we have clear discrepancies between the 3 best commanders, okay? We've got one in each troop type. We've got an infantry one with Sun Tzu. We know that. We've got Emperor Chen over here with the archers. We know that. And then we've got Achilles here with the cavalry, okay? So these are the best 3 commanders, bar none. Like, bar none. Like, must max, got to go get these commanders because they do loads of KP, regardless of who they're paired with. Like, people can argue about that and moan about it and who do we need to pair these guys with, what's best, all that stuff. You guys know my videos. I'll have cards at the end screen to go through the infantry guides and the archer guides and the cavalry guides. But regardless, I took all the data of what Achilles does when he's paired with Gang, when he's paired with Attila, when he's paired with all these different marches, all right? And then I did the same thing with Chen, whether you run him with Zuge, whether you run him with YSG, whether you run him with Shajar, whoever. I took all that data. Then I did it for Sun Tzu, whether you run him with BQ, whether you run him with Luce, William Wallace, and now even some people running him with Vercingetorix. I did the same thing. Regardless, these 3 commanders carry whoever they're going to pair with. Sometimes you can maximize the benefit by putting them with the best marches you can. And sometimes you kind of nerf the commander if you want to put them with something that's not going to really do much for them. So I went through the reports and I went through the kill points. And of course, I'm going to reference our rock battles over here. And then I'm also going to reference what I did with my report manager from Cuba's Mike. I've always tracked that stuff. And I put some stats together, and we're going to go through this together because I'm going to give you a new way to look at this. Let's look at all this through a new lens, okay? And so with that, I'm going to pull this stat up. And it's going to show you some things, okay? So I went through all the Chen marches, all the Achilles marches, and all the Sun Tzu marches, all right? And I took a collaboration of all that and accumulated it, and I got the average trades when it came to those marches. Now, I'll get into kill points later, but hold on. Let's look at this, okay? This is what you're looking at, right? I've shown this before. The Chen marches for archers at the top. They're going to trade on average, regardless of how you run him, they're going to trade on average at 147%, right? You're trading positive nearly 1.5 to 1, okay? And that is a massive amount of data, by the way. We're talking millions of reports, all right? All other archer marches that do not include Chen trade at a 72% clip, okay? So you're trading negative. Doesn't matter who you run. Okay, and you can back that up with rock data. You can go in here and look at this, and I'll just pull something up. If you go into the combat lab, and Daver and Grigvar have been working their asses off on this stuff. They want everybody's feedback on this because there's all kinds of little interfaces and things that we can continue to add in rock battles, and so I know they're working hard on that. But you can go through and choose Alp Arslan with Everybody Likes Herman Prime, right? That typically is like the second best march you can run for archers that don't include Chin, okay? It's trading at an 89%, all right? That's a weighted average. That's the actual kill points average. Here's all the kill points that have been loaded up. 110,000 battles, okay? Massive sample size, and it's trading negative, okay? That's simple. It's trading negative. I don't need to be able to argue this anymore. Everybody kind of understands and knows that. So when you look at this, you can see why, hey, a lot of people still running Herman with Zuge or Zuge Herman. A lot of people still running some other marches. When it comes to that, the overall percentage of other archer marches, Zuge and Philip, that kind of thing, is 72%. So a clear discrepancy to show you how powerful Chin is, okay? I did the same thing for cavalry. Achilles, any march he's with, anybody he runs with, he's going to trade at 114%, okay? And so from there, whether it's Achilles with Gang Achilles, Attila Achilles, all right, Arthur Achilles, and now some people running Vercingetorix with Achilles. I don't like that. I think it wastes Achilles when you run Vercingetorix with them. I think you waste any of your marches. And just a real quick sidebar, I have and I ran the hell out of them in Zone 5. I'm going to run the heck out of them tomorrow in Zone 6. Be sure to check out my live stream. And when you put them with Achilles or you put them with Sun Tzu, it's going to work. But why would you use these commanders to carry Vercingetorix when you have better options to run? You go run Achilles with Gang, it's going to do better. Okay, put Gang behind Achilles or Gang with Achilles behind him. All right? And then if you do the same thing with Sun Tzu, you run him with BQ, and obviously my favorite I've always loved is the Luce. It's gonna do better than Vercingetorix. Okay? Even now people are putting Ivar behind Sun Tzu, and that works out pretty well, but there's some discrepancies there. But the bottom line is, why would just to make this guy look good, why would you waste and sacrifice using Achilles or Sun Tzu unless you have to, unless it's like the best in slot you can do? Okay, so that's always kind of been my philosophy when it comes to Vercingetorix. You do not have to max that guy. Okay, he's not gonna drastically enhance what you're doing. But you can look at the Achilles marches trading at 114%. Now the discrepancy is not near as high with cavalry, because all other marches, that includes Arthur Gang, that includes Attila David, that includes Attila Philip, that includes Arthur with David, that includes Arthur with Philip, Arthur with William, all other cav marches, and including in that includes the one skill damage march I think everybody likes is Joan Prime with Arthur. Those marches trade at 87%. So still a clear discrepancy there. Clearly, almost 30%. All right. Then you've got the infantry at the bottom. All the Sun Tzu marches put together, they average 123%. Now, infantry's in a different situation because you do have another march. And it's like the only other march I would consider as like a meta march is the BQ with Luce, right? BQ and Luce really carries that thing when it comes to the discrepancy of infantry marches without Sun Tzu. So there's less of a discrepancy, and it's really pretty good at 94%. All other marches of infantry without Sun Tzu trade at 94%. And these are all, guys, these are all the marches that people would typically run. BQ with Wallace, okay? Luce with Philip, Luce with Alex, CPO with Luce. All those different marches average out to be 94%. Okay, so we have a clear discrepancy that these three commanders are just broken. They have to carry. They have to carry the troop type that they're in. Okay, so from there, we want to look at the troop type, but we want to look at these commanders and what's their average kill points per report. When you come into the game, you get a report for every single battle that you do. Okay, you get a report for every single battle that you do. All right, and so with that being said, I've got some swarm reports in here. I should have some field reports somewhere. You got field reports going on here. You've got more swarm reports. You got all that fun stuff Dom and I were doing some testing, but you get these reports, all right? And on average, what is the kill points for each one of those three commanders? Well, I'm going to show you, okay? Let's look at this. I have that same graph in here on the trade average, but look over to the right, okay? You can see the average kill points per report. This is very important. The average kill points per report. Of course, Chen is through the roof. Over 403,000 kill points per report. All the other Archer marches, 182,000. All right. So not only do the other marches not trade near as well as Chen, but they just don't do that many kill points. And now with Alp in the game, he's doing more buffing and debuffing with the benevolence and the benevolence effect that he does. And you've got Harmon there that lays down stacks. Some people running Zuge with Philip, but you're not getting any kill points compared to the Chen marches. Look at the cavalry. Okay, 324,000 kill points per report from Achilles marches on the cavalry. And then all the other cavalry marches, 202,000. All right. So you're gaining, literally, guys, you're gaining 65% more kill points with Achilles marches than you are all your other cav marches. And then look at infantry. Infantry's trading at 318,000 for all the Sun Tzu marches, all of them. And then 229,000 for all the other marches. Now we know this, and it makes sense based on the discrepancy where all the other infantry marches not named Sun Tzu are trading at 94%. But the kill points you're getting are the highest of any of the other troop types that don't include a meta commander. 229,000 kill points. Okay, so let's average this thing out, all right? Now, at the bottom, you're going to see the meta marches. You average those three out. You're going to trade at 128% with any marches with Chen, Achilles, and Sun Tzu. And then all your other marches that do not include those three commanders are going to trade at 84%. And then look at the kill points discrepancy. That's the key. 348,000 on average, 348,000 kill points per report compared to 204,000 kill points per report for all other marches. Okay. What does this mean, Chadsky? What are you doing? Why are we going through these stats? It means, guys, the three marches you run with these boys, like they're going to do the majority of your kill points. So maybe you set up your marches a little bit different. Outside of infantry with BQ and Luce, where is Luce? Outside of that, okay, because I think you just set that, and that's going to get you good trades and good kill points, okay? Outside of that, we've really got to look at would we rather enhance the three ass kicker marches we got? Or would we rather try to trade a little bit better with those other cav and archer marches and maybe third infantry march? Like, what do we do? And so you got to look at this and say, okay, well, if I'm running cavalry, right? And I know I'm going to run Achilles with Gang Gang. And then from there, I'm running 2 Delta, and I'm going to run Arthur. Who do I run Arthur with? Well, you could run him with Vercingetorix, does okay. Yeah, and you can run him with Hector and try to get the best value you can when it comes to that march. All right? Hector gives the best trades when it comes to that second march with Arthur, any march that doesn't include Achilles, right? And so from there, you could also run them with Philip. This is what I'm basically saying is Philip and William still hold value today. Because even if it doesn't trade quite as well as Arthur and Hector, you're supplying the buffing that comes from Philip. You're supplying the busted kit that comes from our boy William, where he's laying out defense and he's mitigating skill damage bonuses for commanders. And so my point is, are you willing to take a little bit less trades to run buffing and debuffing commanders with Arthur? Because you know that the actual kill points that you do drastically come from Achilles. So why not just buff that march even more? Why not play to our strengths? And it's a question that I think we've got to ask and talk about. Just play to the strengths of your 3 best marches. And I'll go through that comparison here in a second. And it goes through it where we say, okay, what's the lens we're looking at here? If all the other marches outside of those three dudes are just kind of crap, you're just not going to trade great overall. You're not going to trade amazing. So why not just enhance these three marches? And let me tell you why, okay? Here's the next graph to look at. Based on those three marches and all the data that we have, those three marches in a 7-march lineup, on average, will do 56% of your kill points. So only 3 out of 7 marches will do 56% of your kill points. On a 6-march lineup, it goes up to 63. On a 5-march lineup, it goes up to 72. Those of y'all who are running 5-march lineups, maybe you're doing it right. Because if you use those three commanders, you're overall going to trade better. Because you're not running the other scuffed stuff that they give us. You're not running the other scuffed marches that we're trying to make trade okay. And so from there, I was having this conversation with somebody yesterday, and they're like, Chatsky, I'm almost out of speed ups. I was like, run the 3 best commanders. Well, I like running 5 and 6 marches in the field. And it's like, bro, the 3 best commanders do the majority of your kill points anyways. Does it really matter? Just put those 3 dudes out there in the field and maybe put a BQ and Luce. Like if you just ran 4 marches, you run 4 marches with the 3 best commanders and BQ and Luce. That's simple. That's simple. If you're trying to trade good, if you're trying to have an impact on the field, that's what you need to run. Now, if you're fortunate enough to have the speed ups and all that fun stuff, okay, then we come back over here and we're like, okay, there's a clear discrepancy in the kill points based on the other marches that are not Chin, Achilles, and Sun Tzu. So then what's the philosophy? Do we go back to that where we're saying, okay, we'd rather run Phillip, even maybe Vercingetorix when it comes to his attack bonus? I don't think so. But do we run Shajar? Just say to hell with it. I'm not going to try to run Alp with Herman. I don't have enough skill damage marches to really run the Herman poison stacks up. It doesn't really help much outside of my Chin, but it does enhance your Chin. Okay, well, you can say that. I'm going to run Alp and Herman. Not necessarily to go trade amazing, but to go enhance the skill damage that the targets take from my Chin. Okay. Or you run Alp with Shajar. You run a lot of Delta. You run a lot of Pincer, meaning you run a lot of cavalry combo and infantry smite marches. Well, she does buffing of 20% normal damage after she heals other marches. Well, you can just go enhance that. You got Phillip, obviously the best buffing commander in the game. You go sacrifice better trades between an Arthur and Hector to run Phillip, or the same thing on infantry. Like if you run 3 infantry marches, right? You run 3 infantry marches. You're running Sun Tzu. I don't care who you run them with. You run them with William Wallace. You run them with Ivar. You run them with Vercingetorix. And then you break up your BQ and your Luce. Okay. Well, how does that look like? What do you do? Well, BQ and Hector, obviously, I'm not going to tell you try it. It's a good trading march. It's pretty good. And then a Luce with Phillip. Or you flip that around and say, hey, I'm going to run BQ with Phillip. And then I'm going to run with that CPO and Luce and try to trade as well as I can with CPO and Luce, but I'm going to get Phillip on the field because I'd rather be buffing my meta commanders. Like, I don't think people realize this, that Phillip, now that he's been out in the game for quite a while, we're coming up on 2 years this fall that this guy's been out in the game, okay? And it's like, as long as they have a clear discrepancy in kill points based on those 3 meta commanders and trades based on those 3 meta commanders, and we don't just have all the marches doing the same amount, about the same amount of trades, there's a clear discrepancy. We've got really good marches, and then we've got marches that trade negative, don't do very well. And so from there, why not just enhance those 3 marches? They do the majority of your kill points anyways. And so now you're like, okay, well, you just don't look at the trades. Guys, we went through this. We went through this back in the day. We would run this homeboy, Trajan, arguably the best buffing commander in the game as far as of all time, right? Now, he's fallen off, and you're not going to run him in the field. But he had, back when everybody did skill damage, all the commanders did skill damage, he was incredible to run. But you didn't want to look at his trades because he was a punching bag and was going to trade negative. He was just a big hospital bill. He was a walking hospital bill. Like, call the healthcare department. You're going to have to heal the hospital. However, what he did to the other marches was amazing. And so now that most marches aren't skill damage, you still get the rage gain and he still does some other things, but Philip's the jam now. You just don't look at the report. Like, you go run Arthur Philip, you go run BQ with Philip, you go run Zuge with Philip. It's not going to trade, guys. But does it really freaking matter? Does it really matter? You're not doing that many kill points anyways, outside of a BQ and Luce. So does it really even freaking matter? Like, well, Chazky, I could run my BQ with Hector, or I could run my Arthur behind Joan and trade better. And Joan provides a little bit of benefit when it comes to some of the buffing and debuffing. Obviously, she does a little bit of rage and does a little bit of more damage, all damage for other marches after she does an active skill. But do you go run these other marches barely trading 80%, 85%? Or do you take a hit and say, hey, I'm willing to trade 75% just to enhance my ass kicker marches that are doing the most KP anyways? And that's what I think everybody's got to look at. Look at it through that lens, okay? Because now all of a sudden, depending on how you set your marches up, depending on how your game style is and your play style, and how you tank or don't tank or sit at the back of the ball, or you're real good at micromanaging your marches, depending on your gear, depending on your armaments, everybody plays differently, okay? And we can tell you what the best marches are. We can tell you based on data, our experience. We can put the nuances in there. But at the same time, outside of these three dudes, it doesn't even matter. It literally doesn't matter. We can micro-optimize as much as possible for our second march for infantry, or second march for cavalry, or second march for archers. Try to get them to trade a little bit better. We're just fine-tuning it. Thank God, Dom and Daver and Billick and all of us and the War Council, we're cooking with this stuff, trying to figure it out. And it's like, guys, let's just run this dude. Let's just run Shajar. Like, does it really even freaking matter? You're not going to trade well anyways. Let's just enhance these guys. And that's a whole different lens. My buddy Agony in 606 said, Chatsky, you know what? To hell with it. I'm running a straight buffing march. I'm running like a Philip with Shajar. That'll help all my other 6 marches. I don't even want to look at the trades of this march. But I don't even care. Because my other 6 marches, especially my other 3 marches with these 3 dudes, are doing all the KP anyways. Doesn't matter. They're doing all the KP anyways. And he's not wrong. So look at it through that lens. That's what we want to do. We want to provide you guys that content. We want to provide you guys those nuances to look at this and be like, hey, maybe we're on to something here. Maybe we'll try some of this. Fully knowing that you run a buffing march, it's not going to trade well. But you run Alp with Shajar? How much worse is it going to trade than Alp with Herman? Not that much worse, I'll tell you. It'll trade worse, but I mean, how much are you willing to give up to put those buffs from Shajar on there? You going to run Arthur with Philip? How much worse is that going to trade than Arthur Hector or Arthur Gang Gang if you're running Attila with Achilles? That's what I'm going to do. But am I willing just to put Philip in the field behind Arthur and say, okay, I'm going to take worse trades, but I'm going to enhance the best commanders I've got and just get more kill points that way? There are different paths to kill points. There's a 7-march lineup path to kill points where you just freaking run it out there. As high kill points you can get, the most damage you can get. You could be a little bit more mid-max here when it comes to, okay, let's take the top kill point commanders I have and just enhance those. That's where I get the majority of my kill points anyways, and I think that's the point of the video. So if you guys enjoyed this video, throw a like on here. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Also, get down in the comments. Enter for your chance to win that $10 flex. I'll announce in the next video. I'm going to have Zone 6 opening up on my main tomorrow. We're going to be streaming the next couple of days like crazy. Don't forget the War Council this weekend. We're already working on the content for that. We're going to have that on Saturday. And with that being said, y'all have a great day, broskies.